What are you doing, beloved?
Attention, attention, my black brothers. What I want y'all to do right now is take out the do-rag, the silky, tie it down. I want to see the waves glistening. If you got nappy hair, pick it. Don't let nobody discourage you.
Ariel.
Black boy, black boy.
So I was listening to We Said What We Said, which is the new podcast with Denzel and Dion, and they were talking about OnlyFans, and I was curious if you had the capacity or like there was nobody that will like find out who you were, would you start an OnlyFans?
Absolutely. I actually had this conversation with my mother. I told her, I was like, well, when the pandemic started, I was like, Mommy, how would you feel if, like, just because niggas need money, I started an OnlyFans? And she was
Ooh.
like, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do to get your money. And I personally love to be naked, so I would absolutely do it. And I'm not about to do what them niggas do and get on OnlyFans and paint my nails with some bullshit. I'm putting on a show. We're
Come on,
doing
you said.
burlesque, honey. I'm buying the lingerie. I'm gonna be wearing some Fenty Savage.
Yes, you did get some. You did get some this week. So shout out to you for that. So I saw on Twitter that can you guess who's like the number one like highest paid celebrity is?
Bella Thorne.
Okay, she's number two.
Oh, that's so
She is
fucking
number
disgusting.
two.
That's
Just
gross.
okay, I'll give you one more guess.
Oh, shit. It's a woman?
Yes.
No, I have no idea.
Black China.
Oh, is she actually doing sexual shit?
I don't think so. I think she's just dropping like exclusive music videos and things like that. Like the girls really definitely use that as a platform for like music and stuff. So I'm just like, I'm curious about that. But Bella Thorne is on the list. Black China, Cardi B, like all of these people are on this list. It's very
I think it's
interesting.
really disgusting that they're doing that.
Tyga.
Yeah, like all of that. All that's really disrespectful because first of all, sex workers have been using that platform so that they can like survive, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And for celebrities who have absolutely no issue gaining income at this point, for them to get on that platform and take so many
People's
subscribers.
coins, yes.
And that isn't to say that like people can't subscribe to more than one, but I personally would not subscribe to more than, one or two. I'm not really even subscribed to any right now. I subscribe to one person because I wanted to support him.
Yeah, you did say that. You did say that. But they're not, are they doing like sexual things or is
Yes,
it like,
yes, he
okay,
is.
okay.
I'm not necessarily watching it, get off. I mean, I just subscribed for the sole purpose of like, here's my coin, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it's the place of a celebrity to get into this place that people are using to like put food on their table, and it really disgusts me. And that they're doing that when they have so many other opportunities, right? Like you are a person who can get several thousands of dollars from making an Instagram post. And we have people who the one thing that they can at least rely on in the middle of a pandemic is doing this like virtual sex work and
Yep.
making sure that they're paying bills with this shit, and it just seems so greedy and so fucking
Yeah.
disgusting to me.
Yeah. I don't think I would start one just because like I think I told you before, it's like I don't want people all of a sudden be like, I think my body this shit, and then I start hearing people be like, girl, this ain't worth my coin or my ducats and things like that, which
You'd be
plays
surprised.
right. Somebody gonna like this body, but I don't, my insecurities be getting the best of me. So I would support somebody if it was like really like I've contemplated buying somebody's like OnlyFans subscription and things like that. But there is ways that you can find this shit for free, which I'm like, girl, I do pirate my own movies. So
For free.
yeah, you can find it, girl. If there's a will, there's a way.
Well, you know what? I can't control everything. I just want the people to get
Right.
money. I just want niggas to eat. I want all
Right.
my people around me, everybody living good, everybody
Right.
eating good, everybody chilling.
True. I'm just not that one. But what's up, everybody? It is your boy, Lord Devry.
And I'm Derwin King.
And welcome back to another episode of That Black Boy Joy, where we create a space where black boys can be themselves and
So much more. Woo!
We are back. Welcome back. We took a little break just to get ourselves some time to recuperate, things like that. It's been a crazy couple of weeks or months. I feel like we've been like away for like a month or
Been
so.
about a little under a month.
So, first of all, how are you? Since we're back in the studio, we're back in each other's Zooms, we're back in each other's ears. How have you been? And describe how you've been in three adjectives. In three adjectives.
Yeah, so I've been doing okay. I've definitely been frustrated. I have been, I guess, anxious,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've also been liberated.
Yes. You wanna do tell? Do you want to do tell or?
Sure, I'm
Yeah.
frustrated by the worsening of the state of this country,
Yep.
whether that be with social justice or the fact that our president is truly one of the most heinous people that we've like ever had in this country.
Girl,
Truly the
this.
worst president we've ever
Yeah,
had.
girl. We all praying for this COVID to take him out the game,
Girl,
child.
for real. I actually did a real prayer and I don't feel bad about that at all. And I don't think the Lord would be upset with me either.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've been anxious, mostly because I've been working really hard at work, and I
Yeah.
don't think I didn't even like instantly know that I was anxious because of work. It was like slowly building, and my body was starting to attack me. My stomach was hurting. My throat was hurting really badly.
Come on, sis. Wait,
I
hold
was
on.
not sleeping at night, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And then I went to Ocean City for a weekend, and I didn't have any of that. Like there was no indigestion. I was just good, and I got back to work the next 2 days after that, and I felt it again. I was like, "Oh, bitch, this is my body attacking me
Yeah.
because I'm anxious, and I need to relieve that anxiety."
Mm.
So that was what that was, and then liberated because I was reminded by the last episode of Lovecraft Country that I'm not a prisoner, and no matter how awful things are in this country, that inside of me is true liberation. And I really needed to remind myself of who I am. I haven't really
Yes.
felt that way since The Gift came out. And I think we as Black people really deserve and need those reminders because it's hard for us to remind ourselves when, shit happens all the time. Like, yeah, the last 4 months have been super trying for us. And I mean, it's not like life isn't already trying, but the last four
Yeah.
months have been ridiculous. So, yeah, I definitely needed that.
That's good. I'm glad you like have all. I'm glad that when you went to Ocean City, all of that stuff was just still here. Like I appreciate like you being able to like enjoy yourself on your vacation and not feel stressed because a lot of people bring their stresses sometimes on vacation, which is like, girl, leave that shit in the luggage, in the hotel or something, or not even bring it on the plane.
Yeah,
So
I
I
don't think I
appreciate.
would have survived. I don't think that my mental health would have bounced back if I had done that. Like
Yeah.
I would just be on a straight trajectory down.
Yeah. Shout out to also Lovecraft Country, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But yeah, the adjectives for me have been it's optimistic, relieved, and then my last one is very like driven slash determined. Optimistic is I'm definitely in the space of like just curiosity with who I am and myself and things of that nature. Like all of this is like there's like this reintroduction, like this like evaluation of who I am, and like all of that has been encompassed with like therapy and just my interactions with people. So like optimistic and relieved are two things that are like combined. Like I'm optimistic for my future as and relieved of like I'm able to like just name and express certain things that I feel like I have just put on my shoulders and make me a burden instead of like living life to the fullest. And then like driven slash determined, I'm in this space of like just trying to execute all of the achievements and goals that I want to start and start implementing them like realistically. So with the podcast just being I'm doing way more with the podcast and other platforms and things of that nature. I want to get back into like my own YouTube channel. I haven't talked about that either, but I want to get back into that and things of that nature. So I'm definitely like driven and things of that nature. And I think the break or just the time was well needed for me. I also went camping during this time as well, which was, I didn't know I was like obsessed with like outdoors until I went camping. I also went to LA, loved like Malibu Beach. So like realizing like I do like outdoors, but I don't. Like I was telling my friends we should just go glamping, but like really being in like Mother Nature. I was out there like a Tarzan. Like I was doing ropes course, white water rafting, all of that stuff, like One with Nature, and I was really like fucking with it. So I need to try to implement those things back into my life on a regular
Yeah.
basis. But so today's episode, we are going to talk a little bit about hot topics, but more importantly, we're going to also dive into this conversation around bisexuality, just because Andrew Gillum has been in our news and media, and people have had a lot of responses to him coming out as bisexual. We want to just dive deeper into that conversation. We've had this conversation on the show numerous times, but of course, people still are talking about it and still just are compuzzled by it. So we want to just dive into this conversation on the show today. But of course, we have to start off with our Black Boy Joy Spotlight for the week. And this week's Black Boy Joy Spotlight is a man by the name of Londrell. He identifies himself as like a meditation guru, but he's also like a recording artist. And I stumbled upon his Instagram through actually Samson. So Samson McCormick, who our last guest was, he had him on his story. And I was actually intrigued because he is a Black guy that does like mindfulness meditation. And also like makes playlists and soundtracks to help with mindfulness and meditating. He also has IG stories where he posts morning meditation. So like 25 minutes, he will just like do a live and then he will just like upload it to his IG story, which I really fucks with. Cause like if you can't make it to that 8 a.m. Eastern time, 8 or 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 or 9 Eastern time yoga meditation thing, you can always just like hop on one of his IG story like archives and go to it. So I fucks with that. And seeing a Black man doing that, I'm like, yes, we need to see that. And then he also has a brand called Eternal. Oh God, I forgot the name of that fast. External Sunshine, not Eternal. External Sunshine. So he has merch and things of that nature. And again, he's a recording artist too. So he does make R&B music, which is very interesting and very dope to see a Black man in that space as well. So I just wanted to shout him out. Keep doing what you're doing, Londrell. I will be listening to your mindfulness meditations in my morning routine to get me ready for the day. Because God knows I need to do that in the morning. So
shout out to you, Landra. I think it's really important for Black people specifically to do spiritual work. We certainly need it, and it certainly belongs to us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not trying to say that we're like the originators, but at some point that was something that was super important to us, and I'm sure we had a lot more practices before we were dragged to this country.
Mm-hmm. I always think about like the colonizers. Like I told you before, I was taking a salsa class, and there was this white woman that was like the founder, I think, or like ran it, but she also had like Latinx people as the teacher. So it was interesting to me. I'm like, girl, this is not your culture by all means, but you are the runner of this, and you got the Latinx people being the teachers. I'm just like, this ain't yours.
Yeah, like I don't understand that. Like you're gonna own and get all the money for it, but you're gonna hire people of color. You could just let the people of color. But you could have gave a business loan or found out how to help them get a business loan so that they could do it.
Girl, no.
But you see how people do.
Now, why would you do that? See, now why would you do that? I'm just But let's get into our hot topics because we do have a lot to talk about because these past couple of months, there's been so many things that have been happening and some shows that we've been watching. So let's start off with Nene Leakes announcing that she is not returning to season 13 of Housewives of Atlanta.
I definitely think that she deserves a break or that she should take a break. Honestly, like one of the things I like to do, and I'd like to take this moment right now to do it, is shout out Nene for being the reason that Real Housewives of Atlanta even exists. She is the person who brought that idea to Andy Cohen. It would not exist if it were not for.
It's like Hot Wives of Atlanta, something like that. It was like very much like Hot Live, something of that name.
So she deserves, and not only that, she put it on the map. People were going to that show to watch Nene. I'm not sure that anyone was going on there to watch Sheree. She was interesting. I love Sheree. Yes. But nobody was going on there to see anything but these women's relationship with Nene. So I would like to first note that. And honestly, she had done a really great job season after season being a mainstay. The problem is, I think as time progressed, she just started getting more and more agitated. It was just like, it looked like it was starting to weigh down on her. And her behavior was completely deplorable the last season. Like pretending to spit on Kenya. It was just, and the way she was arguing with them, even at the reunion, she just looked unwell. So I think this is a good time for her to really get back to some sort of mental stability. And I'm afraid that she won't have anything to do after this. Because one thing about Wendy Williams, as much of a hater as she is correct about one thing, and that is that I don't think Nene can sustain a show by herself or
Yeah,
just with
she
her
needs like
family.
yeah, she needs an ensemble. She needs people that she can like read or the people that she can collect or just have commentary on.
Yeah, she's
We
got to
like
bounce off
the
of other people.
commentary. But did you watch, speaking of which, of Wendy Williams, did you see her go on Andy Cohen's what's his
Yeah,
last?
watch what
Okay.
happened live.
I'm thinking
Watch what
about
happened live.
Andy Warhol. I don't know why I was thinking about him for some reason. I was like, is that the right last name? But she was on Watch What Happens Live and had a lot to say about Nene. And I didn't think that I think that was very strategic. And I felt like
Stand her.
why did
She's a
Wendy
hater.
why did Wendy
Wendy
go
is a
on
hater.
here and discredit this relationship that was the center of that reunion? So then she came on and like made even Nene look crazy.
She likes to do that. No, Wendy, seriously, Wendy hates, and I believe has always hated Nene. I think
Mm-hmm.
she looks down on her. I know that she thinks she's ghetto. Wendy tends to look at anybody who does reality that way as if her show isn't trash as well.
It's
Um,
nothing but hot topics and gossip.
like, girl,
It's
all
a
you do is talk
gossip
about other
show.
people's lives. You too are trash. Like, these people are living and making money from that shit, and you're
And
making money from sitting down and talking about it.
yes, you are.
um their beef had originated because Nene bought a Birkin bag with her money.
Mm-hmm.
And she, wrote on it or whatever. And Wendy said she defaced it. And I'm sure a couple other people in the world would say that she defaced it as well.
If
But
I got
my
the
whole point
coin,
is that she had the coin to buy it, so she did
yes,
what she wanted to with her bag.
exactly.
And I remember Wendy thought it was like this trashy thing to do. I know she would invite Nene on her show and sort of like try to embarrass her, like the way she does a whole bunch of other people. So when they had reunited, I could see that Wendy had like one toe in that relationship, and then
Mm-hmm.
Nene was kind of like all in. But
Yeah.
just as the first opportunity that Wendy had to make fun of or throw Nene under the bus, she did. But on the same token, Nene absolutely used Wendy during that last season of Real Housewives. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know why she used her.
because like Wendy has the resources to put any story out that Nene would want. Like she has that connection. So if Nene wanted to tell Wendy to be like, yeah, so Candy and Eva and Cynthia all are doing this, Nene would be like, I mean, Wendy would be like, so I heard from a source, like on her show, and it'll give it a little bit of more credit because she had that. And she also had insider, people was giving Wendy resources that Nene could probably use against the other women too. So like
This is the one thing I don't like about that show.
it was
Is
very
about
much
those franchises is that they really
yeah.
have to get things about each other to attack each other with. And it just feels like that's why Nene talks about there being alliances, because they really do have to protect one another or they have to go for one another.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. I don't think it's always been that way. I don't
Mm.
think it has. I'm sure
I think to keep
I
it more interesting, it may have.
I think at the beginning it was a little bit more organic though, right? Like
Yeah.
Nene is the way she is, and I truly feel like the relationship between her and Kim was this really organic, volatile relationship. Same thing with Sheree and Kim. But I
Yes.
think as time progressed, it had become this thing where they genuinely have to like survival of the fittest. They genuinely have to attack each other until one person, is in the hot seat. It's weird though. I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess the people love it, so
They do, but let's also talk about another franchise, which I've been watching recently, thanks to you, was Potomac. So
oof.
recently there was an altercation between Candace and Monique. Well, fuck it, a fight between Candace and Monique, and a lot of people have a lot of thoughts and opinions on that. And I also, just to name, I never watched Potomac thoroughly. Didn't care for the girls. Didn't give me what I wanted. I didn't feel like nobody was memorable. However, I did watch the episode leading up to this fight, and I was pleasantly like entertained, even though they were very bland. But now watching this fight episode, a lot of women had conversations about, oh, black women, this embarrassed black women, or this is a disgrace. And I wanted to know your thoughts on that because like it just was so many of those girls were just appalled.
So, per usual, I'm going to preface my statement with I think that Monique lost her motherfucking mind. I don't even like Candace. She's super annoying. Definitely my least favorite,
My
cast member,
housewife, yeah.
castmate. But Monique, I've not seen someone switched like that on this show before. I think Portia is the closest thing that has come to it.
Yeah.
And obviously she got a demotion because of that. So I definitely think that Monique was wrong in that situation, and I definitely think that she made herself look really crazy. On the other hand, I do not believe that Monique made every black woman in this country look like a violent, angry woman. First of all,
Yeah.
your job on this show, at the bare minimum, on the most basic level, is for you to argue with one another.
Yeah.
They say it's to show their lives, but every other scene, you guys are in a group together having arguments. That's your job.
Yeah, y'all come together and we want to see y'all argue, god damn it.
So lest we not forget, all right?
Mhm.
Not to mention, this is not the only franchise where fights happen. Teresa threw an entire table on New Jersey. So it's not as if they're the only ones who have gotten in this physical, like it. I felt like they were reaching, and I don't like the way that they made Monique a scapegoat. And I really feel like Giselle was one of them. Like, she pushed that way more than she should have. And she's talking about. I saw a clip, a preview for tonight's episode.
Yeah.
She's like, Jamal and I have an image to protect. Do you? Because as far as everyone else in the world is concerned, that man has several children outside of your union.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're trying to protect.
And they're divorced and got back and they're now in the hopes of getting back together. So it's interesting that now you are investing, like, this is our brand. And I'm just like, girl, just
cheater, pumpkin eater. Come on, girl.
And her dad didn't approve. Remember when at the last couple of minutes, turn that damn. I say,
I'm done. She making a big mistake. That's it. I'm done. I ain't got no more.
Yeah. I like Monique. I understand she did have a lot of rage against Candace.
Yes, it was weird.
Very interesting seeing that, like, somebody like, I'm going to kill her, and I'm just like, oh girl, what's the real tea? Like, I would need to go back and watch episodes because I'm like,
so just so you know, it's supposed to be because there were these rumors about Monique having extramarital affairs with like her trainer or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Charisse, who was a cast member for the first and second season, she apparently was spreading this rumor. Candace had a party and she invited Charisse, and she did not make Monique aware of this. I guess, I totally see how it's a big deal to Monique, but if I hadn't cheated, I'm not entirely sure that would be so much of a concern to me.
Yeah.
And Robin made a good point a couple episodes ago that, Monique's perfect life is sort of like cracking, that you're starting to see the cracks in what she portrays as a perfect life. And I really think there are some things there that she needs to work out.
Well, Monique, we're going to tune in tonight's episode. We're going to see what's going on with tonight's episode. See this apology tour that you try to go on.
She's not even going to apologize.
Do you think she needs to?
Yes, I absolutely think that she needs to apologize for...
To who?
Creating... I think she needs to apologize to the women. I do think, because a lot happened there. And I think none of them were really prepared for that. I do think that she owes Candace an apology, but I also think that Candace should apologize to Monique, even though she wasn't the person who expressed in that way. I think it would be healthy for them to apologize to each other in the same way that I definitely thought that Portia and Kenya needed to apologize to each other.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I do agree. I don't agree on her apologizing to them girls. I do apologize for her apologize. I do agree.
Not? Why not? It's stress.
Yeah, however, it's stress, but you sign up on a show that is drama, that is arguments, that will happen.
But it's not Love and Hip Hop.
It's not Love and Hip Hop. However, I do not think that she needs to apologize to them. I don't know. It's just like, why I'm apologizing to y'all? Because y'all seen me be violent, y'all see me be angry, y'all see me wanna. What do I need to apologize to y'all for?
But I think energy shifts. And one of the greatest examples of that, I always revert back to Real Housewives of Atlanta, was the pillow talk. Like, when people fight like that, I don't know if it's like this like evolutionary thing, but you can feel the energy get really tense, and it's a really like high stress moment versus an argument. People arguing, you can just be like, whatever, child. But to be in that sort of environment like that, like, they were all super duper like stressed out about it. And so I would want an apology. You put me in a situation where, like, I was scared. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And I absolutely think that you should address your castmates for even putting them in a dangerous situation. There's glass flying all over the place. You know, you've got the producers rushing. I mean, at any point while they're pulling and
Somebody could
whatever,
have been
somebody could have gotten
injured.
hit. Exactly.
Yeah.
So even putting me in danger, harm's way, I deserve an apology. I would absolutely. And it doesn't look like Monique has a problem apologizing to the women. It doesn't. It
Yeah.
looks like she has a problem apologizing to Candace.
Yeah. Okay, I see that. I do see that. I definitely see that. Well, we're gonna see what happens tonight on tonight's episode of it. But really quick, shout out to all of the Black Emmy winners. This year we have the most winners. According, sorry, not according, but this year we have 7 winners of Emmy that are Black, and I think the record before was 6. So shout out to Zendaya for getting an Emmy for Euphoria. Shout out to Regina King for Watchmen. Yaya, how do you pronounce that? Is it Yaya? Martine for Watchmen as well. Want to give a
Sorry.
Yes, want to give a shout out to Maya Rudolph for her voiceover, and Big Mouth, Bad Mouth, Big Mouth.
Big Mouth.
I'm like these shows just like I'm like, which one is it? But shout out, there's a list of people, but shout out to them. I appreciate that, but it just also surprises me that there was only 7, and also like Pose wasn't in the category as well. Like they weren't even like placed in that.
Whose performance do you think deserved one?
I think Elektra. I need Dominique to get one, or at least MJ.
I would
say those two.
I definitely think MJ deserves it.
Yeah.
I do think that MJ did a much better job this season than she did during the first one. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. I don't know that I don't remember Alexa's performance. I'll have to go back and watch it. That is no shade.
I would say, girl, she was pulling tables. She was pulling things from under the table. Like every time she would leave a place, she would pull the table and throw all the food around. And also when she read those white women at that country club when it was at the beach.
I mean, it was a great write. It was good writing.
A good write.
Yeah. I mean,
so
that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. A shout out before we move on. Shout out to Victoria Monet for creating a beautiful, beautiful project. I love Jaguar, and it has literally been on repeat for me since it came out.
Have you seen? Did you go to Twitter and see what she posted about? Like that she has a new song on SoundCloud called Politics.
I'm gonna go listen to it.
Yes, it's called Politics. It's like it encourages people to feature it on themselves on it. So she does like I think a chorus and like a little verse. But like check it out. It's on Twitter and things of that nature. Not speaking of which, music. Nicki Minaj had a baby. We are excited in LA. We don't know when she gonna show us the child. Don't know when we gonna get any information about what's going on and everything, what the baby name is. But we are proud that Nicki is finally a mother, and she finally has people. She has a child that can say these women are her sons, or her siblings. She has a kid. Like these girls are literally my siblings.
I hope that this child can ground her.
You don't think she's grounded?
Who? Nicki? As in Onika?
I think Nicki just has a lot of people that just want to see her fail, and she just has had enough.
Who doesn't?
I don't see why we want to see her fail. Like we don't need to see her fail. Like every time, like I just feel like
Here's the thing, Devery. There are several up and coming female rappers right now, and they're not attacking each other. So I don't want to hear that shit. I don't.
But I don't think Nicki like intentionally tags people. I think the media makes that happen. Like when she was never throwing shots at Remy before until some shit started to happen. She was not originally throwing shots at Little Kim.
I will say that people come after her. I will say that. But I don't know. I also feel like Nicki constantly does something that I'm looking at like, why? Like, why? Why are you doing this? Like, and she
supported Megan.
Happened to be crazy, but
she supported Megan when Megan came out. Child, let's go to Lovecraft Country.
Shout out to the last episode of Lovecraft Country. That was the reason I felt liberated. Like the Hippolyta episode. That statement alone, right? Like identity and the importance of it.
I really appreciated it because it really was based on like determining who you are based on who you are or what you want to be. Like just refreshing that specifically for Black women is like reminding them like You do not have to be this person's wife. You don't have to be the goals of being like these somebody else's somebody. You need to figure out and like remember why they want you and
Yeah.
not why you want them. And I really appreciate that. And also like Hippolyta is very science techy. And I was like glad to see like I've like Hidden Figures. Immediately I thought about Hidden Figures, like black women back in the day were like human computers. So now seeing like her being able to do all these mathematical scientific equations on paper off the top of her dome was just like you have this potential and then you're just like, you know, this man's wife, which I'm like, that's dope and all, but like I want to see you unlock your full capacity. And then at the end, when she was like, I can go into these other worlds, but I want to be here for my daughter. I was like,
He needs me.
ooh,
My favorite moment was, I feel like it's gonna make me slightly emotional.
oh,
When she's talking to George and she
mm-hmm,
says, "I shrank myself, I- and I continue to shrink myself, and you let me.
ooh,
You sat by and watched as I shrank myself." And I was like, wow, to be an outstanding, a phenomenal and hardworking and intelligent woman, and then for your identity to just be someone's mother and someone's wife, no matter how much you love your family members, to have to shrink to become that person, to shrink in a way that men do not have to. Men do not
mm-hmm,
have to shrink themselves to be husbands. And as much as they would love to say that they do, they don't have to shrink themselves the way that she did. She could very well have gone and done the green book herself, but because she was someone's wife, you know, he didn't want her going out there and risking her life, even though he was, right? And
yeah,
she wanted to do it. And
yes,
she was fearless about it. She didn't care. And it's not, she wouldn't have been the first black woman to go and do something dangerous, and she probably would have survived.
yeah. She probably would have, but it was like you never gave her that. You never allowed her to do her or be her, which causes a lot of like regret and a lot
Yeah.
of resentment
Yeah.
towards the person that has held you back. And if that probably wasn't even their intentions, but you holding someone back, it will never go away, and people will just always. Oh, I feel like I got a burp. They will always. I'm like, I feel it right here. But like, you still you have that regret and that resentment. And
Yeah.
I do really appreciate this episode because it allowed her to just be. First of all the female characters, all of them are
Oh God,
amazing
every
on the
single one
show.
of them.
Every
Oh,
single one,
whew,
every episode they've had, even when Letty's sister Rose
yes.
had her
Ruby.
episode. Ruby, sorry, Ruby had her episode. You know, last episode with the in Vietnam with
Oh
Jamie,
God.
Jamie's I forgot her last name. I don't want to say Jamie Lee, but I feel like it's Jamie Lee. But I'm like, ah. But she was on the Real World. But like even that story was dope. Even every time Letty just shows up, like the women were here for.
I definitely think they're written in to be a little bit more, not only a little bit more complex, but a lot more likable. And that isn't to say that because Montrose, wow.
But
That
did you?
isn't to
But
say
you
that.
just recent? Did you just recently start to like his character?
Mm, I guess we didn't know him before.
We did not. Yeah.
And then they had that episode where we got to know him, and I was like, okay. Whereas they're making Tick a little bit less likable. The more
PTSD,
complicated
girl.
he gets, the more complex he
PTSD.
gets, the less I like him. And I give it to him. I'm not trying to be too hard on him because he has been through a lot, but you know,
That doesn't negate. But
yeah.
girl, I just am like I'm really more interested in the women right now
Mhm.
than Tick and
They're
his
written that
father.
way. They're
Yeah.
definitely written that way. The women are significantly more interesting, but this is a show I think created by and led by women,
Yeah,
so they're
but
doing a wonderful job.
I think that's also probably a different stance. Like maybe the book, because I know it's based on a book as well, had probably like
Right.
a very strong male presence because of its time or things of that nature. But also,
I
I
would
think
assume
the
so.
right. So I'm just curious about like, is that Misha Green's like purposefully doing that right now? Like trying to do that. So shout out to her for all of that. And then also really quick,
Yeah, really quick, please.
presidential debate.
Boo.
Girl, what is we going to? What is we
Girl.
going to?
Trump did exactly what I thought he would do. Literally, his behavior was not a surprise to me. Like, I'm watching it and I was like, this is exactly how I imagined him going into this. And also, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it was the first time that he's done something like that. I wasn't completely dissatisfied with Biden. However, he's so old that his mind is super slow. Like I don't mean that as like an insult, but that Trump, in true form, just came at him like bow, 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 thing after thing of ridiculousness. It wasn't even anything valid. It was
For
just,
baloney.
him being childish.
Yeah.
But Biden, his mind doesn't work fast enough to like combat that, to like say what he's got to say and then also combat it. So like Trump was really getting under his skin. Like he was just stopping because he had to keep trying to find his,
He was like,
thought.
shut up. I was like, oh, girl, you let him get to you. You let him get
Because he
to
kept
you.
losing his train of thought, and it was hard for him to get back to the script that his team designed for him.
He's like, shut up, fucking Trump.
And he tried at some point to name what Trump was doing, but because it was happening so quickly, I don't think that he successfully did so. He was like, you guys know what he's doing, and I wish that he had been able to
What
articulate
is he doing?
the
Let us know what
tactics.
he's doing.
Yeah, like he was trying to overtalk you so that he would throw you off of your game. He was trying to come up with these one-liners and trying to be offensive so that his team would, so that, see, not his team, so that his supporters would feel invigorated, like, oh
Yeah.
man, like, look at Trump, he's giving it to him, versus acknowledging that he didn't say anything that was going to empower the people or going to show the people that he was fighting for them. Nothing that he said was pro people, whereas Biden like brought it back to like, this is for you guys, like I'm here to represent you all.
Yeah.
And it sucked.
Yeah, it's an interesting presidential debate. I wasn't I've never been that invested in politics, and this is also a very interesting time. Like, I have became more interested, but then these two candidates, I really honestly do not care for, and we're at a space where it's like, yes, it is still important to vote, but we are not happy with who we are voting for. And I think the most important thing is hopefully he hires people in his team that is able to create these policies or programs that are beneficial. I don't think he's the greatest, but I hope he definitely gets people in his cabinet, in his office, and his team to be better at their job. Because we can't trust COVID. We can't trust him. Like,
I hope so too. I also just, never mind. Well, no. There is a there's a grand dissatisfaction amongst Americans right now. And I'm not going to say anything about it right now, but on November 4th, I am going to have quite an opinion about this. I really do feel let down by the DNC, and I also feel let down by the people, mostly Gen X and baby boomers, who knew early on in the process of the primary elections um, that they were going to vote for Biden, because that just wasn't a wise decision. I just don't think it was. I understand what the thought process was, but the Democrats are gunning for Republican votes in a way that, and this is historical, they've always done this, in the way that Republicans are not doing and won't do. And I think that did not work well for the people. But I mean, obviously, and say that it does, right? That means that America is a conservative country. No matter how liberal we try to make ourselves seem, we are a conservative country. And there is no fighting that when the strategy is to find a Democratic what is the word? Candidate. A Democratic candidate who is centered or appealing to Republicans in a way that Donald Trump was not, yet he was elected, right?
yeah.
So obviously this is a conservative country. We're not discussing that enough. We're not talking about the fact that way more people obviously are conservative. If the tactics by the DNC are to choose someone who appeals to Republicans, who is more centered, and the Republicans have not worried about that in several years, in several elections. It's just gotten worse and worse.
It has. Well, I'm interested for our conversation on the 4th. Please register to vote. Please go out and vote. Regardless of what's happening, we need to vote, vote, vote. But we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and dive into our topic for this week's episode. And we are back, everyone. We are back. I have to fix my hat, child. This hat. First of all, it is becoming really chilly out, so this
Yes.
hat is about to be like attached to my head. So
Girl, that's me and my comfort sweater.
right, I said if y'all see me with this hat on, probably like multiple episodes, it's my new hat. It's my new hair. But we are going to get into today's topic. And today's topic, we are specifically talking about Andrew Gillum announcing that he is bisexual. So, people that do not know, Andrew Gillum was a politician in Florida, and he was actually running for governor, and he was pretty close to winning. But there was also a scandal that came out where he was found drunk in a hotel with two guys and one overdosed, and there was some drugs that was involved. And this happened in March, and then some months have passed, and there was really no conversation about it. And then recently, he went on a I always say her name,
Cameron Hall.
Tamron Hall show, and announced with his wife that he was bisexual. And that caused a lot of people to have an opinion and some thoughts about this situation. And we just wanted to get into this conversation and um, and things of that nature. So first, I found out about this through Lisa Ray and Claudia Jordan and Selena Johnson and Vivica Fox on their their
Like
talk
Fox
show.
Soul or some shit
Fox
online.
Soul, and they were just really talking about their experiences with like bi men and like, oh, like there just was like having issues with him coming out and
Oh,
things like
they've
that.
had experiences with them?
They were not with him, but like with
No, I mean
experiences.
with bi men. They've had
Yeah,
experiences with
yeah,
them?
like, but didn't know that they were bi. It was a conversation of like, why didn't you say you was bi? Why didn't
That
you
sounds
blase
sketchy.
blase? Lisa Ray was talking about like she dated somebody and everybody knew afterwards or prior while they were in a relationship they was bi. So I'ma just name. I had before we're like I really was someone that was kind of like really not really understanding of people being bi and things of that nature. Yes, that is surprise. I'm in the LGBTQ plus community, but however, that was me being ignorant.
Surprising? God, it's very
Look,
commonplace.
no surprise. Look,
It's
in our
commonplace.
community, and to me, it was really this conversation of I know when I first came out, I identified as bi because it was
Yeah.
that good like cushion to like really test the waters and saying like, okay, I can fully say I'm gay. And then I also had this thought process of, do I honestly think people that are bisexual can actually settle down and find love and happiness and things of that nature? And ultimately, at that time, I was like, no. I was like, they can't. They're indecisive and things like that. Which was very immature of me to think and say. However, that was just a mindset of mine because I was just like, I don't understand. Like, there's more people that now there's like more options for you all to date, and I'm like, do you really have the opportunity? I was very immature at that time. I was too busy investing in somebody else's um, actual background and what they do behind closed doors. Probably wasn't invested in mine too much. I was busy worrying somebody else's, but really, really just started to get into this conversation with going to like Lisa Ray and the whole show, and then with Andrew Gillum. I kind of just like, why are y'all so mad? Why are y'all so pressed? Why are y'all so bothered? Is it the way that he came out? Is it because do y'all think he's really bi? Like, why are you all so invested? How does it affect y'all? And all of that stuff. I was like, ooh,
So first of all, on the words of Phaedra Parks, you are in good company, or at least you were in good company. There are a number of people, both gay, straight, whatever, who felt that way,
yeah,
and I think it's because of that bisexual, specifically men, have been severely ostracized. I want to say first about the transition between being in the closet and being out, that a lot
yeah,
of us have used being bisexual as a placeholder before
yeah,
completely saying we're gay. And I want to get down to the reason why, or at least why I think that happens. I
mm-hmm,
think our minds say, people will accept me more if I'm still attracted to women. If I
yeah,
still maintain that I am attracted to women, then I won't be going super far off the deep end. And it also leads people to believe that maybe this is just a phase, and that ultimately you will do what we're supposed to do as
yep,
men and raise a child, children, and have a family with a woman. And so I totally understand that, and I'm not going to fault anyone for choosing to do that, because we're just misguided when we do that.
yeah,
I mean, I was like, I was probably about around 17 when I thought I was going to tell people that. I don't think I ended up doing that, but I met people who were doing it. The other thing that I wanted to address was indecisiveness. I think saying that you're bisexual is decisive.
Yeah.
I think being able to name what you like and standing firm in it
Mm-hmm.
says this is exactly who I am. And it's not easy to tell people that you're in an in-between space because people are so polarized. They want to believe that you're this or you're that. But
Yeah.
having the bravery to say that I'm in the middle is, I truly believe, one of the most decisive
Yeah.
things that anybody can do for any two polar
And
opposites.
then also making it okay.
Yeah.
Like also reminding people like, yes, people can be attracted to physically and emotionally to both women and men, male and female, and things of that nature. So we need to really stop putting people, listen, child, I was really like, child, I was trying to figure out who I was when I was all in that space. But yeah, just like people are really, people have this still have this negative connotation that being gay is like very like poisonous, or very very like there's a disease that comes with the territory, which is like totally false. Like you get whatever they're assuming, like both people can get it. So I really have that bothers me, that it's like, oh, you, once you're gay you're like tainted, or you like bringing this
Yeah.
disease to us, and this is how things are happening to us, and this is like, because I think that's what solely where Lisa Ray and all of them, specifically Lisa Ray, was very like aggressive with this conversation. Was like, if you gay, I mean, just say you're gay. You don't need to bring that over here. And I'm just like, bring what?
Yeah, it's disgusting. I think because historically MSM, which means men who have sex with men, that is the clinical slash like academic
Yeah.
term used for people, because not all men who have sex with men identify as gay. So in order to group them, that's what that is. Historically, you know, HIV and AIDS have been a large part of our history,
Yeah.
and because we're men, we're like super, we want to spread the seed.
Yeah.
And so historically there's a, and this narrative was definitely pushed by Oprah Winfrey, that men who have sex with men are going home and taking, you know, diseases to their wives and or to their girlfriends. And of
Oprah?
course it's happened. Oh my god, she had a whole DL segment like on her show. This absolutely happened. This
Bro, let me go look up this research.
I mean, I love Oprah, but she ain't perfect now. um, and so there are women who believe that men who have sex with men are going to infect them with an STI. But here's the thing: if you're using condoms, as you should be, and hopefully
Yeah.
those men who are having sex with other men are also using condoms, then you really don't have that much to worry about. And it's a little homophobic to assume that men who have sex with men are going to be HIV positive. Now, granted,
Mm-hmm.
the statistics in the last couple of years have said that 1 in 2 will have HIV, but the belief that like most gay men have HIV is like, I don't,
Yeah.
and you don't. So
Same.
here we are
Yeah.
too, and we're not in
Right.
that statistic, right?
Yeah.
So I think that women have to be very careful because also the number of Black women who have HIV, and it's a very large number, they have quickly become the highest demographic. Um, of people who have HIV
Mm-hmm.
and AIDS. That's not necessarily the fault of men.
Yeah.
At least not gay men. A lot of times it is, you know. I mean, Easy E. Easy E is a person who is straight and had HIV not because he had sex with men, right?
Yeah.
You've got Magic Johnson, and I'm not like throwing these people out there just to, you know, throw them under the bus, but to say that pushing this narrative is really harmful, and it totally it absolves straight men of their part in infecting
Yeah.
straight Black women, you
Yeah.
know. And I think that's detrimental. I've seen
Yeah.
in my line of work, I have seen a lot of heterosexual people who have HIV, and they I've seen couples, they're not having sex with, like, you know, HIV positive gay men. They
Yeah.
just swapped it between each other. So I just want that narrative to stop. I want to end that.
Yeah. And why do you think it was so such a huge conversation when Andrew Gillum announced it?
Listen,
I mean, I have
I've
my
got
reasons.
complicated feelings about that. Number one, because I think he embarrassed the fuck out of his wife. And I don't have
Mm,
a lot of respect for him for that, because whether she knew or not, which I don't think she knew,
right.
um, he did something very publicly embarrassing, and now she has to sit in front of the world with him as he tells the world that he is bisexual. And I don't think that he ever would have told us that if he hadn't gotten
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I agree with that. I think that's the conversation when I heard about the situation. I was like, yes, we have a politician that is bi. I'm super here for it. But I think I was kind of like, my nose went up when I found out the way that it had came about. Like it was very forced, in my opinion.
Yeah,
The
you
scandal
got
came.
you got caught in a room with one or two gay men and
Yes.
drugs. And the
Mm,
fact that we're not focusing on the drugs part is really disgusting to me.
yeah.
We're focusing on the sexuality part because that's the part that Americans were most disturbed by. But
Yeah.
he was in a room, whether he did those drugs or not, with someone who had hard drugs. So
Yeah.
not only were you in that room, you were a politician at that time. And
Yeah.
you didn't think that it was wildly inappropriate for you to do that because someone OD'd. So
Yeah.
it's not like the world stumbled upon your sexuality. You did something that completely tarnished your reputation,
Yeah.
and then you decided to spin the story and focus on your sexuality in an effort to make people say, oh wow, he's so brave, he's going to be a strong representation. I see that Olivia Pope bullshit all up and through. You're not fooling a bitch like me. I see exactly what he
Yeah.
did, and I don't think it's fair to bisexual men. I want people to be more organic.
Yeah.
I want there to be someone who says, look, I am bisexual and I'm telling my story without being prompted to, without it being because someone's going to out you,
Yeah.
because I want people to be free.
But do you think that if the scandal did not happen, and this is not his business because he does not have to do that, he would have said he was bisexual?
No, we wouldn't know. We wouldn't know that he was fucking with men,
And it's
whether
not
his
even our
wife knew
business.
or not.
Right.
We would not know that
Yeah.
information.
And that's
And
not
the
even our
only
business.
reason we know it is because that incident happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not our business. Like I keep saying, it's not our business. Whatever they do behind closed doors, they do if they're happy. However, it was like it got brought to the light and that was interesting. I think also people probably, if he came out organically, if there was no scandal, if he literally was during his campaign run announced that he was a bisexual man, I don't think it would have been as like pivotal.
Let me
I think
tell
they
you.
would have just been like, oh, okay. But now there's like this scandal with it that's just like, oh, like, let's see if he really is bi or if he really is gay or what really happened. I'm like, okay, like,
You say it's not our business, right?
yeah.
But it is.
What?
Because
How?
when it's why? Because
Yeah.
when it's a man in a traditional nuclear relationship with a woman, they're married and they have kids and they're wholesome, then it is our business. When they're doing what they're supposed to,
Right.
it's our business. And there
but
were
I,
quotations for the listeners.
yeah.
I don't mean what they're supposed to. But
Right. Right. I'm just saying is like if this was an actual mutual thing in their relationship, we would have not known about that. And
exactly.
that would have been for them. But we are now in their life because he fucked up. And now this thing that is quote unquote not traditional and how could you date a bisexual man is going to be in people's ears and conversations. Like what people do behind closed doors is their business and you will take okay, yeah.
I don't like that ideology because it makes it sound like anything that is LGBTQ is something that deserves to be hidden. And we only
No,
use that business terminology
yeah.
when it is in reference to people who are in the LGBTQ community. We
I
do not talk about straight people hiding or keeping their business, in the closet because it's not something, it's normal. It
right.
is normalized for straight people to be in their relationship, to have children, and no matter what, we don't think about their sex. But the minute it becomes I'm bisexual, whether the man was in a relationship with a man or not,
Yeah.
it's something different.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, you're right that what the particulars of their sex life as a couple is not our business.
Yeah.
You're 100% correct about
Yeah.
that. But what we saw was a man who has claimed to be one thing,
Yeah.
doing something totally different without his wife.
Yeah. Yes. See, yes. Yeah, yeah. I get that. Because there was no there it was very like, okay, you in butt naked, drugged somewhere,
Yeah,
two
come on
men.
now. Come on.
Yeah, it's a very it's a very sketchy thing, and like I said, like he's doing his part. He came out.
He deserves to be held accountable for what he did. I think that is true. I'm not trying to bash Andrew Gillum.
Yeah.
I appreciate him for being honest about his attraction to and history with gay
Yes.
men or queer men. I
Yes.
appreciate that. I appreciate you for finally standing in that truth.
Yes.
However, I'm not going to give you more than that. You
Yeah.
should be held accountable for what you did, because the worst part of that story is that you, as a politician, and I'm not saying that politicians don't do this shit, okay? I'm not. But that's the problem, is that
Yeah.
y'all do. You do. I personally am a gay man, and I've not been in a room with anyone doing hardcore drugs and then, ODing, and I'm like, oh, well, shit, what the fuck?
Yeah. Do you think him identifying as bisexual has helped normalize this conversation, or helped it become a conversation that is had in the household or in the community?
No, I think that people have been having conversations about normalizing and accepting bisexual men for a long time. And I say
Mm-hmm.
bisexual men because straight men have always romanticized bisexual women, and black bisexual women have a freedom that bisexual men do not.
Normal.
Um,
I mean, sorry, not Kaylani and Tayana Taylor.
right,
Those two, I
right.
immediately think of like it is so fetishized.
And everyone loves it, right?
Yeah.
And then when it's a man, it's a different story.
Yeah,
So
because they
I
went on
don't.
her husband. I mean, her baby daddy.
Yes,
Kaylani's baby daddy identifies as
he's
bi.
bisexual, or yes,
Yeah.
and but to answer your question, no, I don't think that it's going to facilitate healthy conversation. I think it will facilitate conversation about bisexual people. But
Yeah.
my hope is that, like, what's his name that was running for the Democratic candidate, the white one, who was in a gay marriage, just Buttigieg, Pete
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg. My hope is that in that same way, that more politicians will be able to run as openly bisexual people. Those are the milestones that I would like
Yeah.
to see. That is not what we saw with Andrew Gillum, but maybe,
I feel like there's
maybe
women. Yeah. I think there's
this
some women
opened the
that
door.
began to open. I mean, began. I've seen more women be able to that have ran that are lesbian, or like heard of women that are lesbian or bisexual women run for politics, which is
Yeah.
very interesting. I think also the conversation of fluidity is something that just keeps coming to me, and understanding like fluidity and whatever space is just really uncomfortable for people, and that really makes me uncomfortable because I am someone that um, has battled with understanding where my sexual arousal is in certain spaces, and
Yeah.
feeling like I can't be fluid in how I want to present or also show up sexually. And I think that is something that has bothered me, and I'm just like, why is that so bothersome for people to say they want this and that, or this or that? Like,
You've grown though. I want to say
yeah.
that to you right now. Like, I've seen you grow even in the last year that I've known you. And I've watched you battle with those things. So I appreciate you being honest about that, but I do want you to also give yourself kudos for doing the work. A lot
Yeah.
of people don't get to that point, and
Yeah.
it took you a minute.
Yeah,
And
because I was low key like still uncomfortable in my sexuality. And it was because I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm too gay. And
yeah.
then that's like, wait, like what is that? What is the level of gayness? But yeah, like I am at a space where like I'm like, fuck it. Like I want to do this and that. I want to be held. I want to hold. I want to feel all of these things. And I feel like society has put these norms and just like these boxes of people, and it's like, fuck. Like, for example, with this Andrew Gillum, like if he is bisexual, and he is, matter of fact, he identified himself as that, so he is that. um
Mhm.
why are people now questioning like, what this, how does his wife feel, and what, like, this is disrespectful to, this is what he embarrassed her, and I'm just like, y'all, like, they
The bisexual part is not how he embarrassed her. He embarrassed her
right.
because he did some shit that she was not a part
He
of
was
and
not a part
probably was
of.
not privy to. That's
Yeah.
why he embarrassed her ass, because that nigga was in a room with someone who OD'd on hard drugs. That's embarrassing.
Can we
That's the
also, what
embarrassing
happened
part
to
of
are
it.
they fine? Can have they
I
made
don't know. I don't think
statements?
they died. I think they're okay.
Have they made statements? But
I don't think
yeah,
so. I'm gonna
yeah,
ask you a question.
yes.
Are you attracted to bisexual men?
Mm. I've not. encountered that. I've not encountered a bisexual man yet. And I think, to be transparent, um, yes, I am. However, yeah, I think I am. How I'm the reason I'm thinking about it, because I have this converse. I always think about, like, men have dated a lot of gay men have dated women before they they were gay. They identified themselves as gay. So I see no problem with that in the space. So I'm over like bisexual men and things of that nature. But I do think about like what that is, like what that bisexuality is in that space. I feel like I'm rambling, but for the most part, yes. But then I'm also like, I want to know more. I want to know, and I think that's my privy. I feel like I can ask those questions because I did encounter a guy that, and it's not about you being biased. It's not about you dating women and men. It's about how comfortable you are in that space.
Yeah.
That's my only concern. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to go back into a closet. I don't want to feel like, yes, if you are bisexual, I need you to be able to have me on your arm. I need you to be able to talk to, like, be able to show this is my boyfriend. And I feel like I have had a conversation with one guy that I was interested in, and they were still, yes, they date women and they date men. However, like, their men space is still down low, but they're out. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, they're out to their friends, but they're not out. So, to the world. So I think yes, but I need more information, but I need you to also be comfortable. Because if you're not comfortable with who you are, I'm turned off by that.
I think that's true about gay men too, though. Like most of the closeted people I've met have been completely gay.
Yeah.
But to answer my own question, I am attracted to bisexual men.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, on my profile on Jacked, yes, people, I'm on it. I say that I love bisexual men, and my reasoning might not make a whole lot of sense to a lot of people, and it also isn't a definite. But my hope with bisexual men is that they will be more into duality. In my opinion, duality is key. So my hope is that their attraction to women and to men opens up their worldview. I'm a person who, presents as feminine most of the time, but can also present as, relatively masculine.
Yeah.
Enough that like women hit on me and have no idea that I'm gay sometimes.
Yeah.
So I want someone who can respect those things about me. And I would hope that they would be able to see in me or respect in me those sort of feminine parts that they might appreciate about women.
Yeah.
I also know that a lot of them, at least the ones that I've had conversation with, feel like they get boxed in a lot by gay men.
Yeah.
And don't want to be held to some sort of boxed standard, some sort of strict, you should be behaving this way and not this way. And I want the same thing for myself. And I've had conversations with a couple of bi men who feel that way. Now, granted, I've had some conversations with bisexual men who feel like because I wear makeup, like that's not something they can get down with. But that's not my business. Like,
that's not.
If you can't, then you're not my business.
Yeah. No, yeah, I like that. Yeah, the duality.
Duality is key.
Yeah, I put that on my like dating platforms now. I'm like, I want somebody that's balanced and like has really importance in duality. And when I say duality, I'm not on that tit for tat shit. I'm literally talking about like, I want us to, and that requires communication, which is very uncomfortable for people to just communicate and just assume these damn roles. But I don't want that in my space. Where I'm gay, these roles are not even defined for me. So I really want to like communicate, like, okay, are we, who's going to do this for sex? Who's going to do that? We're going to do it at the same time. Let's get it popping. Like, okay, all of these norms, I want to just be unsubscribed. Like, if you want to take me on a date, you can take me on a date. If I want to take you on a date, if I want to surprise you, I want that space. I want like constant spontaneity. And that's what I value. I don't want to feel like I'm trapped in a box or a bubble that I don't even feel comfortable being in. And I don't want you to feel that way either. So like, I want to experiment in so many spaces and so many things. I'm in that mindset. I'm like, let me experiment. Healthy and consensual experimentation for me, I think I want that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with you about that. And I think that bisexual men have allowed themselves the freedom to do that. Like I've talked to a lot of gay men who are like, oh, I would never touch a vagina. And I'm like, I want the space to say, maybe I do. Like, and this isn't to say like I would like to dive into one today. But if the day comes where I'm like, I really want to try having sex with a woman. I want a partner who can facilitate that, and not
Ooh,
one who will sort of
yes.
like look at me sideways or tell me I'm not like a real gay man or whatever. Like I should be allowed to be in the spectrum of sexuality,
You
and
should.
like whether I'm super far on the gay spectrum or not, if I am curious about some other part of my sexual nature, I want a partner who will accept
Yeah.
that and facilitate it, not someone who will make me feel like I'm wrong because
Somebody
of
with
it.
patience. I
Yeah.
want somebody with patience. Like I
Yes.
said, like I think I told you before, I was like, I have no problem with vagina. I just don't know how to work the mechanics of it. I just don't know what the Rubik's cube of it all is. So
Not
like,
the Rubik's cube. Not the Rubik's cube.
if I get put in front of it, I'ma just look.
Jesus.
I'm gonna just look like, girl. So where do y'all say that clip? Yeah, which one? So that's me. Like, I get hit on by women so much. I've also like even like my freshman year of college, like still like I had a college crush. I had a senior year. I had a college crush, and then freshman year there was a girl that I was like hooking up with, not to the extreme of sex, but like just like making out and cuddling and stuff like that. So like I still think women are gorgeous. I just think that like I can't give you the physical to the capacity. Like I feel like if I would have to have some severe patience. Like you got to understand. Like if I might, look at
Yes.
it and be like, how do you work this? Let's do it. But I definitely I get what you're saying because I'm like I think women are gorgeous. I think women are the most beautiful thing, and they're beautiful creatures and just like how they are. But I just definitely want patience in. If I not experiment, but if I want to explore, because I think experiment and explore to me are two different things. Because experiment seems like a game, seems like a
Hmm.
lab. Explore means you're like trying to navigate certain things in like a healthy way.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I also think that that can be a lead-in. That's probably part of what it is. Is like if
Mm-hmm.
I were interested in having sex with a woman, if I have a bisexual boyfriend and he knows what he's doing, I probably feel a lot more comfortable. And I'm
Yes.
sure that I could talk to the woman about that being the first time, and perhaps she'll be a little, like you said, a little bit more patient.
Yeah. So we want to close out this episode. First of all, the conversation I really fucks with. I'm like, this is the first time I've like said this publicly, was like how I want to be in spaces and feel comfortable with duality. What is a takeaway, or what is one thing you want to leave the viewers slash listeners with after this episode?
Allow men to explore their sexuality in the same way that we allow women to explore their sexuality. Allow men to really explore their identities because it isn't
Hmm.
even just about sexuality. We box men in a way that they can't acknowledge the complexities of who they are, and it
Yes.
sucks because they will forever be locked in a cage in that way. And I just want women to facilitate men's growth in that way. I know that you guys feel like, I don't want my man doing blah blah blah, but you don't allow men to be free in the way that you're allowed to be free. And being a part of someone's incarceration in that way is super sinister.
Come on. First of all, I heard incarcerate. I heard sentence. I heard sinister, bitch. I'm over here thinking some very villainy type shit, but I know the definition. I know the meaning. I know what you meant. No, but yeah, I do. I double tap what you're saying. I definitely want us to remember the importance of allowing men to explore,
Yeah.
allowing men to be comfortable in duality with their masculine side and their feminine side, or what that even looks like in their space, and
Right.
allow them to feel those emotions. So I do appreciate that. So to end out, our social medias, if y'all want to continue the conversation with us on our personal social media accounts, you can hit me up on Instagram and Twitter at underscore Lord Every. That is underscore LORDEVERY on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can follow me on Instagram at Derwin King. That's DERWINKING. And on Twitter at Free Negro. That's FREENEGREAUX.
And if you would like to continue this conversation with the podcast social media, you can hit us up at That Black Boy Joy on Instagram and Twitter. You can also watch these videos on YouTube since we do have the visuals as well. And if you would like to write into us or submit a guest pitch, you can hit us up in our Gmail at That Black Boy Joy podcast at gmail.com. And I think that is it. And no,
Peace.
what? Be so in love. And I want to conclude, I haven't done this in a while, but I want you all to remember to be so in love with who you are.
I'm talking about the